Jennifer Grant. I teach 4th grade math, science, and social studies in Denver, Colorado. This is my 15th year teaching, and I love learning new ways to engage my students. For my capstone project, I chose a project called Size Me Up to a Blue Well, Conversions and Conservation. I started with the National Geographic lesson, Size Me Up to a Blue Well. I made this decision because my students have been struggling with measurement conversions, and this lesson started off with being all about that. So first we made noticings about this photo that compare a blue well to everything from a bus to a person. And then we did research to find the different lengths of animals, including ourselves, as well as other animals that we are curious about their length. We made conversion tables to move from pounds to tons, inches to feet, centimeters to meters, even feet and inches. My students then completed these tables. The way that they did this was they researched in books. They used computers independently as well as in groups. They measured each other and collaborated to figure out the size or the height of each other. One way that we converted measurement to differentiate was we used a tape measure that had centimeters on one side and inches on the other side, and they flipped it over to figure out the conversions. They completed tables such as this. We did one together as a class, and then they finished them on their own. And then after we did that, we found out how long a blue well actually was. We used meter sticks to see the equivalence and how the size of a 4th grader compares to that of a blue well, 25 meters long. The students thought it did not seem that long at first, but then when we had a 4th grader laid down in the hallway at the end of it, you could hardly even see that there was a 4th grader at the end of the hall. So here it is, we are laying out 25 meter sticks all in a row to see how long a blue well actually is in the real world when it's full grown. And then I panned out in these other two photos where you can actually see the little black dot at the end is actually a 4th grader laying on the ground just to show you the comparison of a 9 or a 10-year-old with that of a full-grown blue well. Next, we learned all about blue whales and how the ocean and its body structure help them grow larger than animals in the world. We watched this Animals 101 Blue Whales on National Geographic. We also held online discussions to share what we are still curious about. They had to answer the question, what's one thing you are still curious about, or what is one additional thing that you would like to know about blue whales? We held this discussion forum on Schoology. Here's one student's answer. She said that she is now curious about how long blue whales can hold their breath underwater. We learned and shared about the human impact on whales, and we learned about projects that some scientists are currently working on to make this human impact positive. We virtually were introduced to Asha DeVos and Enrique Sala, two of the National Geographic explorers that actually have made it their life work to protect the marine ecosystems, including helping blue whales survive. Enrique Sala's project, The Pristine Seas, my students found a really good interest in that, where they actually got to see the projects that they're currently working on. After that, we made posters about our impact on the marine biology or ecosystem, and as well as biology, and figured out how we could have an impact even here in Colorado. My students came up with ideas on how we can have our own personal impact on the planet, so we compiled a list of things that we're already doing and how we can increase that impact. So one thing at our school, we have a green team of students who help classmates decide what to correctly recycle, compost, and throw away at lunch. One of the ideas that we would like to start is extending this into the classroom. Our students came up with the idea for our classmates to go to all other grade levels and discuss what actually should be going in the classroom recycle bins. Since we already do this at lunch, they thought that this would be a really good, easy way to help students understand that we need to solve the problem in overuse of one-use plastics, which is one of the bigger issues in the ocean at this point. Overall, my students were 100% engaged in this project. They're excited to keep our ideas moving forward, and my students enjoyed the way that I made this project interactive through online discussions, bringing in the explorers, and just making this feel like a real-life project, and actually giving them something that they can move forward with. This course helped me see the impact of including scales, perspectives, and the skills, attitudes, and knowledge from the framework into a lesson. It makes it much more meaningful, and the learning experience is so much more authentic. These ideas are easily added to all lessons with minimal extra work, especially with the resources provided by National Geographic. One thing that I strive for in my classroom is to have real world connections, but I think that this course allowed me to just see how easy it is to bring that into so many different topics. I even have 2 students that now are really interested in becoming marine biologists because of the scientists that we learned about in this project. I was really excited to see the encouragement and the enthusiasm in my students, and they're really excited to continue this project even throughout this entire school year and further. And I think that this course helped my students get a better understanding of what we were learning, as well as it made me see, just by adding the perspectives alone, made students understand things at a whole new level. I intend to continue using what we've learned in this course in all of my future lessons to make what we learn more meaningful and connect to the real world.